All right, Wilson, let's get the week started. It's going to be a busy one around here. Downtown, it's 41. Actually, it's really mild this morning. This will probably be the warmest morning of the week as we look at First News. Fair, accurate, you get the damn truth. Joe Biden is touring the Amazon rainforest. That's what he did yesterday, as the U.S. is expected to scale back its commitment to climate change. He took an aerial tour over the tropical rainforest and met with local leaders while he was visiting an Amazonian museum. Trump administration is highly unlikely to prioritize the Amazon or anything related to it. President Trump's indicated he wants to concentrate on America's problems and bringing peace in the world. And Joe Biden's team is not helping with that. Now, since they lost the election, Joe Biden's decided to let the Ukraine strike targets inside Russia with U.S.-supplied long-range missiles. Folks, that is a bad move. They have not permitted that. Why? Why have they not permitted that the first 2.5 years of this war? And now, since last week, they've decided now to let the U.S. missiles be used and start blowing up things with inside Russia. Makes no military sense whatsoever. If they were going to do that, it should have been done right away to stop the war or put an end to it. We know why it's being done now. And Putin has now warned the United States, do not let that weaponry get deep inside of Moscow's borders. The scope of this firing is unclear. The change came now after North Korea has sent 12,000 troops helping Russia. Iran is involved, sending them military drones and things that they need. And now with this move by the Biden-Harris administration, this is going to escalate this into something bigger and much deeper that we hope we can dig ourselves out of. Got a little problem here with the pages sticking together. We've got our eyes on Tropical Storm Sarah. A storm that emerged this November as it is dumping torrential rains in parts of Central America, made its way into Honduras and moved out over warmer waters over the weekend. Generally, there is 1 or 2 tropical storms every year that pop up anyway during November. 66 hurricanes, in fact, have been recorded during November all the way back to 1851. So, folks, this is not an anomaly. It's not because of climate change. New Orleans police said they're investigating. 2 people were killed, 10 hurt in a shooting on a parade route. They responded to reports of the gunfire Sunday in St. Roch neighborhood, found 8 victims suffering from wounds. All 8 were hospitalized. A 9th person arrived 45 minutes later via car. 1 person died at the scene. Another died at the hospital. A 3rd victim also hospitalized. And no arrests have been made. Could be gang related. President-elect Trump continues to name folks for his cabinet. He has named the senior Republican now on the Federal Communications Commission as the new chairman of the agency. Brendan Carr, longtime member of that commission, served previously with the FCC's general counsel, has been unanimously confirmed by the Senate 3 times, was nominated by both President Trump and Joe Biden as part of that commission. And we're still learning more about the turnout and the numbers and how overwhelming it was and what a message that was sent last week. It featured a sky-high turnout approaching historic levels. Conventional wisdom was the Republicans struggled to win races in which many people vote. 153 million ballots were cast in this year's race between Trump and Harris. Those fully tabulated, the number of votes will come closer to 158 by the time it's fully tabulated. You know, we're still waiting on some of the final election results coming in from California and other places. We're almost 2 weeks out. Could be one of the highest turnout elections ever since women were given the right to vote more than a century ago. By the way, that right that was opposed by most Democrats in Congress. But isn't it funny how this is now, they say, close to a record? And yet last election, Joe Biden was able to get 81 million votes. That if you bar graph that, that's never happened in any election ever. Even with the most popular, Reagan's landslide and others, never had that far of a margin, as we continue to learn. That possibly could be investigated, by the the way. United Nations climate talks resume again today. Negotiators are urging to make progress on a deal that could see developing countries get more money to spend on clean energy and other. That's what this is about, folks. It's about money. Several experts put the sum needed of at least $1 trillion that we need to pay and spend in order to control the weather. So now we know we can do it. It just cost $1 trillion to do it, apparently. All coming out of this climate conference. There's a trial going on in Minnesota. 2 men, part of a criminal network stretching from India to Canada to smuggle families into the United States. The trial is for 2 men who got some clients from India, and their clients froze to death in January of 22 because of the bone-chilling temperatures. Canadian authorities found the families' bodies. The trial will begin today. Authorities in India's capital shut down their schools today, halted construction, and banned non-essential trucks from the city because the air pollution shot up to their worst level so far this year. Residents of New Delhi woke up in thick, toxic smog enveloping the city of 33 million. The deadly haze is covering their monuments, high-rise buildings. Visibility is poor. They're warning airlines about delays, and be careful. Because India, the pollution in India is so bad. Not here, India. It rises every winter when the cold air traps the smoke from emissions in India. We kind of have a lame duck Congress right now in session, but the House passed legislation that will provide full Social Security benefits to millions of people. 327 to 75 vote, now a lame duck session for Congress. Senate passage is assured. The Senate has a jam-packed schedule for the remaining weeks. If the bill doesn't pass by January 3rd, the new session of Congress would have to take over control of that. The legislation would repeal 2 federal policies that limit Social Security payouts to 2.8 million people. They approved it. French farmers are on the move. They're mobilizing again. Widespread protest in Paris, targeting their new trade agreement with the EU. They argue the deal will threaten their livelihoods and allow a surge of South American agricultural imports produced under less stringent environmental standards. Protests are planned nationwide. Traffic jams will be seen throughout this country of France. They're opposing all these provisions, duty-free imports on beef, poultry, sugar. Their farmers said it creates an unfair competition. A lot of countries like that, they just want South America to produce everybody's food, and they can stop and have clean air and, dance naked out on the streets, whatever the hell they do over there. But the French farmers are mad. Boeing, they've delivered some layoff notices to 400 members of their aerospace space union as they struggle to recover from financial and regulatory trouble on that strike. Yeah, that's right, that strike. They held them at bay, folks, and got huge wage increases. So what does Boeing have to do? They have to lay off people in order to make up for that money now that they have to give to others. Boeing announced in October they're going to have to cut 10% of their workforce, or 17,000 jobs. Wow. Now that they demanded more money. We told you about the E. coli outbreak, this time with baby carrots. 1 person died, 39 have been infected. From Grimway Farms. The company recalled them. They include whole and baby organic carrots sold in bags under multiple brand names. The carrots are no longer in the stores. The CDC is encouraging consumers to check their refrigerators, throw away any of the carrots that fit the descriptions. From Grimway Farms. They're based in Bakersfield, California. Exactly where the slivered onions came from in California. That was from Taylor Farms, and which, by the way, McDonald's is going to put $100 million out there to bring customers back to their stores. The investments include $65 million that will go directly to some of the hardest hit franchise. Colorado had the most cases of E. coli. Montana was second with 19. Nebraska had 13. Going to use the money, new advertising campaigns, help some of the 900 restaurants that suffered because of the E. coli scare. Here's another one. Spirit Airlines has now filed for bankruptcy, trying to reboot, trying to recover from the pandemic swoon that covered the country. They tried to sell the airline to JetBlue, and the Biden administration wouldn't let them do it. It's small airline companies, basically, but they wouldn't let them. Said it would hurt lower income people. Well, guess what? If they can't fly, it's going to hurt them too. And so they've declared bankruptcy. Bankruptcy again. Shares of Spirit dropped 25% on Friday. People were still flying on Spirit Airlines. They're not paying as much. Spirit passengers flew 2% more than they did the same period last year. But that whole pandemic COVID scare thing caused more problems than we'll ever realize. And they prevented the merger, which would have helped them. Frontier Airlines tried to merge with Spirit in 2022, but they were outbid by JetBlue. And then the Biden administration's Justice Department blocked it. Said it would drive up the prices for Spirit customers, and they depend on low fares. Well, guess what you just did? Now they're going bankrupt. U.S. airline bankruptcies were common back in the 90s and even early 2000s as airlines struggled because of competition and these high labor costs that the unions put on them. Pan Am, TWA, Northwest, Continental, United, and Delta were all swept up, some liquidated. Others used favorable laws to try to renegotiate their debts for air leases and keep filing. The last bankruptcy by a major U.S. air carrier ended when American Airlines actually emerged from Chapter 11. They merged with U.S. Airways. They let them do it in 2013. But nope, not this one. Biden administration would not let JetBlue and Spirit merge, and so we have another bankruptcy. Picketing is continuing outside of a hotel casino in Las Vegas. No talk between management and their union members. The culinary workers walked out Friday at Virgin Hotels. Members are striking. What a new contract. Raises. Same as Sin City Resorts got. Other properties on and off the Strip reached deadline agreements with the union just before their Formula One race a year ago. Those 5-year contracts contained salary increases for those workers of 32%. 32%. That's why, and we've heard a lot from people who have gone to Vegas telling us how expensive it's getting now to stay and eat and play. Shares are mixed in Europe today. U.S. stocks fell to their worst loss since the election on Friday. Wall Street got a big boost from a Donald Trump win and a cut interest rate by the Federal Reserve, but on Friday, losses came in. S&P sank 1.3%. The Dow dropped 0.7 of a point. NASDAQ was off 2.2%. Moderna and other vaccine makers drug the market down after President Trump picked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to look into all this vaccine bull crap that they've been. Yeah, and their stocks tanked. So apparently they're worried about what he may find out about vaccines. And it's a lot too late for a lot of these folks in the industry, but U.S. officials are now proposing increased logging on federal lands across the Pacific Northwest under a new forest management plan. The proposal Friday would overhaul the Northwest Forest Plan that covers 36,000 square miles of U.S. forest land in Oregon, Washington, and California. That plan was adopted in 1994. That plan curbed logging and clear cutting to protect spotted owl and other species. And logging has fallen dramatically in the years since. Well, worsening wildfires, they say, due to climate change means that forests may be more actively have to be managed. No, that's not it at all. You quit cutting the trees down.
Right.
They're so thick you can't even walk through there. The fuel is what's fueling the fires. Folks, I don't know if you've ever lit a fire, but the difference between a fire burning when it's 94 out and 92 out, there's no difference at all in the temperature when the fire is burning. None. Zero. Look what happened in Montana, to our that one in Seeley Lake. That just closed here not too long ago.
Right.
And we don't have very many sawmills left anymore. We have all this old growth. A new proposal would increase timber harvest by 33%, potentially more than 200%. Timber-related jobs would increase accordingly. Harvest volumes from the 17 national forests that they're planning would be 445 million board feet annually. And they need to get some of these older trees cleared out of there and cut out. And they have to go according to their plan. You know who makes the plan? College graduates. And you know where they went to school to study forest management, Mark?
I do.
You do, don't you?
I do
too, and so do you folks do. And they were all taught by the cracker asses that were in there prior to them. And so they're coming out with the same thing that they have, rather than the people who are on the ground and know these things, folks. They got to clear some of those areas out. If you don't get rid of the fuel, it's going to continue to burn. Cat Country News Time is 6:46. We'll check sports and weather next.
In sports, LaMelo Ball was fined $100,000 for an anti-gay term that he used in an interview after they played Milwaukee. He said he meant nothing by it. It's just a word that he uses. He said, I got nothing but love for anybody, but the NBA doesn't care. $100,000 for that.
Well, there you go.
Just for a word.
Well, she donated to Flake's Giving Fund.
Yeah.
P.O. Box 1276 Billings, 59103. 42 today, folks. You know we have a 60% chance of rain today? 60. Could change into snow today. And high 42. Tomorrow, sunny 39. Wednesday, sunny and 38. 42 again then on Thursday. Weekend so far, kind of up in the air a little bit. Still ways out. Hopefully we get some decent weather for Flakesgiving. Taking donations this morning at 248-5665. Got a long way to go here. Just got started, but
I got one that came in, and they want to hear a song.
Oh, good.
Kim Stark. Good morning, Mark and Paul. Natalie, Mason, and I will be there on Friday.
Good.
And 5 grandkids. I will deliver meals Saturday. My check is in the mail. Awesome. And I would like to hear John Wayne's America, Why I Love Her.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. Help us out every year. Good stuff. Anyway, that's what's happening. Mark and Paul here together. Thanks for tuning into the Cat. Heard worldwide. Let's get some of these people from other states to send in
That'd be
donations.
nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be great, yeah.